Live from the Acres Broadcast Center inside East Stadium, this is the Husker Athletic Director Show with Trev Alberts. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Griffin drills one to right center field. Long run for the Outfitters, and nobody's going to get there. It's going to score Anderson, and the Huskers are going to walk the Mavericks off here today. Nebraska wins it 6-5 to claim their home opener.
As Squire blasts this one deep down the left field line, it stays fair. A home run for Abby Squire. Her second home run of the game.
Bustamante comes set. And the pitch. Fastball
Hits into right field. Base hit. Huskers win the game. E-Fry Cervantes just served it into right field. Matthews scores. Huskers have rallied to win it 6-5.
As Andrews lost this one deep right field. Sweet all the way back, and it's gone! Home run, Billy Andrews. Her 14th home run of the year, and it's 5-0 Nebraska.
The pitch. Base hit left field. Scoring is Sartori. Here comes Core Jackson around third. He's going to score, and the Huskers have walked off the Islanders on a wild Friday night at Haymarket Park.
Here is your host, Greg Sharpe, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to our monthly sit-down with Nebraska's Athletic Director, Trev Alberts. If you want to be a part of the program, our phone lines are always open for you at 402-413-2400. You can also fire off a text if you'd like. Last month, you and Jessica were part of the show, and you announced that Coach Hoiberg was going to be back for another year, and they went out and they won 3 road games. How about that? You had to like the way they kind of bounced away into the year.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day. It's funny, as former football players, you remember these things that Coach Osborne and your coaches used to drill in your head. And the funny thing to me was it was always finish. Finish the drill. Finish. And even now at 50-some, you go running and you're 3 houses away from the end, and that thought, finish. I just love the way they finished. And, we talked a lot about changes, and obviously there's been some staff changes, and that's been announced. The reality is it isn't just about staff changes. Fred and I had talked a lot each week about some of the different changes, and he can talk and expand on and expound on some of the changes, but there were changes that he made those last several games, and it was really great to see them be rewarded for thinking differently, trying some new approaches, and activating a different level of I think, discipline and accountability. So, Fred will talk about all that, but yeah, really proud of how they continued to fight, and I think a big thing around here is finish, and when we finish and we have that focus, good things generally happen.
He has, as you alluded to, made a couple of changes on the staff. There's also been some players who have left the program. Had an announcement this afternoon with 3 young men who are going into the portal. The portal has really changed college athletics, not just in football, which we kind of focus on that a lot, but all sports are really getting into that, aren't they?
It really has. The portal is the reality of where we live in college athletics today. And, it's interesting. You talk with colleagues and we talk about a lot of things. The reality is many of my peers are talking about we have free agency in athletics, and we're paying athletes. And it's just a fundamental shift and change in approach. There's again, I've said this many times, but there's such discomfort. The reality is all of us in athletics want clarity, right? You part of what you're trying to do when you're trying to win is what are the rules of the game, and then we sit down, work hard, create a strategy, and try to be successful within those rules. And oftentimes, clarity in terms of a lot of things is hard to find today. But the reality is, it is where we are, and our job at the University of Nebraska is to find solutions and find competitive advantage given these realities. And so, on the one hand, I'm happy for student athletes who either feel like they have a better opportunity somewhere else. We certainly have been the beneficiary of it, so you can't, lament the fact that some of your players leave. The reality is we've benefited, from the transfer portal. And so we'll see where it goes. And in the end, I think what ends up happening so many times, it'll probably happen even in some of these NIL deals, is there's a rush and there'll be a little bit of a pullback. There's been a lot of student athletes that have entered the transfer portal, and not all of them got opportunities. And so there's some danger there, some unintended consequences, as you can imagine. But certainly, I think the challenge for Husker fans and for all of us is when we're used to that tradition of watching a young man or young woman come into your program and growing and developing and then leaving. Many of those types of situations are gone. And it's just like your favorite NFL team. Your favorite player isn't at the same place anymore for 10, 12 years. With free agency, there's a lot of movement. And that's a challenge for fans. It's a challenge for us administratively.
You've had a busy month. We've got the basketball back on. The NCAA tournament's resuming here tonight. You spent some time in Indianapolis, Big Ten tournaments. You went with the women then to Louisville for the NCAA tournament. How about the way Amy Williams' team competed on the court this year?
Yeah, really proud of Coach Williams, and really proud of those players. And, we talk a lot as an administration about having the type of program and teams that reflect the values of our alumni and Nebraskans. And, I enjoyed watching women's basketball, pay attention to fundamentals, discipline, play for each other, share the basketball, play great defense. When challenged, meet the challenge. That game against Michigan was an all-out brawl. I watched several of our young ladies walk over some of the nicest, sweetest, but very competitive players, blood gushing down Bella's face. It was a physical war. And we met the challenge and stood toe-to-toe with, really great programs. So that's the reality of the Big Ten. We're in the Big Ten, and we're going to have to stand up, and week to week there's no nights off. But Amy and her crew did a great job. Really proud of them.
We've really wrapped up our winter sports, so I want to get your thoughts then about wrestling. Finished 7th in the Big Ten, but 5th in the NCAAs. What a bounce back for them there.
5 All-Americans, and I really appreciate Mark Manning. One of the things that I've enjoyed is, I've got a lot to learn myself. And I feel blessed to have coaches like Mark Manning, John Cook, others, veteran leaders who've been around, seen a lot. And, you think about Mark, obviously we hosted the Big Ten Wrestling, and we can talk a little bit about that and the success at PBA. It was wonderful. But, I think Mark and the wrestlers would tell you they weren't thrilled about their finish at the conference. And to see them turn around then, go to nationals and finish 5th with a loaded deal, and they're not happy. And by the way, they've got a lot of talent coming back. So really proud of Mark and the wrestling program and what they were able to accomplish for us.
Would you deem the Big Ten's here a success?
Oh, we think it was great. We did a lot of, obviously there was a lot of firsts for us, and having alcohol involved and seeing how that worked, and we did a lot in terms of the analytics and what was the revenue that was generated, and over those 3 sessions. More importantly, wanted to see how was it handled. We've got a great partner at PBA, and Tom Lorenz does such a great job. They're in this business; they know how to do it. And so we didn't have any incidences, but much of what we anticipated on the revenue side came to fruition. You probably will do a $5 to $6 per cap without alcohol. And we were basically at double. The revenue is real over the 3 sessions. I think it was roughly $350,000. Now that's not a gross number. That's a gross number. That's not a net number. So that doesn't count, the extra folks that have to work to do it, but wanted to make sure that we could execute at an event like that in a highly charged emotional environment, and really proud of our team and the folks at PBA for pulling off what we thought was a really great event. And the Big Ten was thrilled. I thought, we don't get to host these things very often, right? Once every 14 years. So we put our best foot forward, and all the feedback I got was the University of Nebraska knocked it out of the ballpark. And of course, the Haymarket's such a great, venue for it too. So a great deal and great for our team, and proud to be able to host it.
You mentioned veteran coaches. The most veteran coach on your staff is Gary Pepin. The men finished 3rd in the indoor for the Big Ten, and then they had a couple of All-Americans on both sides, men and women. He retooled his staff after last year. He wasn't pleased with where the thing was going, and he got right in there and changed some things. It looks like it's worked pretty well.
It's worked very well. Gary's one of the most passionate people you'll meet. He loves the Huskers, and made some, as you mentioned, he made some changes on his staff too, and I think you've seen some of the impact on our throwers. We've got a world-class coach, and we've got world-class throwers, and so, I think both of our tracks programs are trending in the right direction, and we certainly need all their competitive excellence we can for the department. And but it's kind of interesting when you have some success, it just seems to breed other success. When one program does well and there's this accountability and this energy that's generated by it. And been a great year. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had some adversity, but by and large, just really proud of how our coaches, staff, and others have worked through the adversity. And of course, as always, we're just thrilled with the way that our student athletes represent our university.
Their outdoor season begins this week, and I know you're in the process of getting the new track up and ready for them to compete on.
Yeah, working hard on that. Our crew's done a great job. Obviously, the track itself is completed. Had some hiccups on sort of the phase 2 component, which is obviously the grandstand and the press box and those types of things. As you know, the construction industry is stressed right now, and what subs can do. So we've got a number that was approved by the Board of Regents, and so we have to stick within that number. And so we took it back to bid, trying to figure out how do we best utilize the resources we have, what's been approved, to best activate that track to serve our fans and student athletes the best we can. But it's going to be a world-class facility. You combine that with inside the Devaney Center, and I'm going to tell you something. Go to a track meet in the Devaney. It's awesome.
Incredible.
It's an incredible facility, and Gary's earned it, and our assistant coaches and our student athletes.
Two things have changed since you did your last show. One, daylight savings time, so it's light outside, and we can actually see the Go Big project, and there is a lot of steel that has gone up. Are you pleased with where that is sitting and where they are in the progress of that?
Yeah, I just did a little bit of a tour today, with the architect of record, and they made a little bit of fun of me. They thought we were going to go take a tour of the site, and I reminded them that we got a little rain here. Why would we be walking around in the mud? They called me soft, and I understand. I probably am a little soft, but I'm really proud of how that project is progressing. It's a game changer for Husker athletics, and a lot of focus will be on football, obviously, and certainly important there, the development of our players. But it's a game changer for the entire athletic department. I mean, it's all of our student athletes will be impacted. It's next generation, next level support academically, life skills, nutrition, sports psychology, all of those critical things that, as we talk about being elite, and we talk about being a leader, and we talk about being able to have young people come to the University of Nebraska and know that we will have the best people, the best facilities, and the best focus in trying to make them, all they have to do is work. They can become whatever they want to become. If you're willing to work, every single component of your student-athlete experience, academically, socially, spiritually, physically, we've got a plan for people for and a world-class facility. So our donors have once again stepped up and changed the profile of Husker athletics, and we cannot take it for granted, but we're incredibly grateful for all the support we get.
A lot to get to with you. We're going to work a break in here. We've got to talk about the spring sports, obviously spring football. I want to get your thoughts about the survey. NIL, we're almost a year into that. I want to get your take on some of those topics as well. Folks, if you want to be a part of it, 402-413-2400 with a call or a text. That is our Sports Sign League hotline, which is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online with Woodhouse.com. It's our athletic director show for the month of March. Trev Alberts is here until the top of the hour. We're back with more coming up.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first and experience the difference. The all-new 2022 F-150 is confidently capable and relentlessly tough. Equipped with features that allow you to work smarter and harder so you can get the job done faster. With 12 models to choose from, the F-150 was built to help you make the most of your work week or weekend. Shop, finance, and buy your way online at WoodhouseFord.com or one of our 3 convenient Ford locations.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. Your last chance to save big on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But get moving, offers are ending soon. Get to the final days of Ford Truck Month. Maverick has limited availability. See dealer for inventory stock.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. The university has a new undergraduate business and law major. Students majoring in business and law are learning to use legal knowledge to better solve business challenges. They are also gaining skills in regulatory compliance, financial services, securities regulation, and corporate social responsibility. Upon graduation, they will boost the state's talent pool in these critical areas of expertise.
And Ibarra swings and lines this one down the right field line. It is a fair ball into the corner. Bredwell to third. She's going to try and score. And Bredwell will score standing up. Meanwhile, Ibarra slides into third with an RBI triple. Now 2-0 Nebraska in the fifth. Nebraska softball opens Big Ten play at 19th ranked Michigan tomorrow night. We'll have pregame beginning at 5:20. First pitch at 5:30 on the Huskers radio network, Huskers.com, and the official Nebraska Athletics app.
Whether you compete on the court, at the track, on the field, or in the fields, winning isn't just a goal. It's a mindset, shaped, honed, and defined throughout the season. That's why farmers pushing themselves to be the best plant DeKalb brand corn. Wherever you compete, winning has roots. Perform at your best with DeKalb. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics. You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, digital and social media, radio advertising, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Did you ever buy something and get more than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it, the confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
This isn't the start. Before I got here, I started training. And before that, I did something to my back. But my first move was Athletico Physical Therapy. That's where I'd eventually end up. So why not start there? I mean, my therapist immediately found the source of my pain. These are the same physical therapists who work with elite marathon runners. So soon, I was back to running, but without pain. You got this.
It all starts at Athletico. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com.
Did you know that cigarette butts make up a large portion of microplastics in the ocean, which end up in 70% of seabirds and 30% of sea turtles? Bank of the West is helping to solve this problem by not financing big tobacco, proving that what a bank chooses not to finance can be just as important as what it does. Learn more about what we do and don't finance at bankofthewest.com/change. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
From sprains and stitches to sore throats and sinus infections, when it's care that can't wait, count on CHI Health Clinic Priority Care. Simply walk in 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You'll get the quality care you need without an appointment, and you'll never pay more than a regular primary care visit. Get in, get out, and get on with your day. Find a location near you at chihealth.com/priority care.
Cornerstone Bank proudly serves Nebraska with a full line of loan and deposit products. Cornerstone is large enough to handle all of your financial needs while offering the personal service you deserve and the local decision-making you expect from a family-owned community bank. Stop in or call one of the Cornerstone Bank locations near you to discover the Cornerstone difference. Bank on a solid foundation. Cornerstone Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to approval. Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres. It's the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. It's our monthly sit-down with Nebraska's athletic director, Trev Alberts. 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question. Another Husker football practice in the books today. I know you had some boosters that were here to watch practice. We're quickly getting close to April the 9th and the actual game. What do you think of what's been happening on the football field?
Well, it's been exciting to watch. Got to go down to practice a little bit today, and I like the spirited practices. There's some energy out there. There's full pads, and talked to a couple of the coaches today, and so we did have quite a few donors that said we might need to invite fans into every practice because the guys are all the people here, so they're all excited. But I think, again, we talked a little bit about the transfer portal. I think some of the new faces have brought some energy. There's some swagger to it, some competitiveness that I think is really healthy. I think the new coaches have brought energy. I mean, listen, anytime there's change, there's a different approach. Guys feel like maybe you were third team with a previous coach, and now you've got a new coach. You feel like you have a new opportunity to impress that coach, and so I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to the spring game. Obviously, it's a little bit of a challenge. It's going to be broadcast on the Big Ten Network, and so you can't show everything that you're doing. But we've 42,000 tickets sold so far. I'd like to get that north of 50. I know we always do well in the walk-up, but on the Big Ten Network, we want to show Husker Nation off, and so looking forward to it.
Question on our text for you. Will the new field turf at Memorial Stadium be a newer version of what is presently in place? Will it visually look any different? For example, will there be red end zones, a Nebraska or Huskers in white and black letters? What can you tell us?
Well, it will be new. It's basically the same type of turf. Obviously, there's a field turf as time goes on. There's new technology, those types of things with the fibers and that. It will look slightly different. The entire field's going to be green, so we won't have the lighter green and I just want to get back to being a little boring, and it's a green field, and but the rest is in large part the same. All the markings, what's in the end zone, the end on the 50-yard line. But that will be the biggest change that fans might see, as the entire field is going to be one color, one shade of green, the darker shade.
Will the name Tom Osborne still be on the field, or has he convinced you to take that off?
No, Tom Osborne will always be on the field, and if he's not careful and if he keeps talking, I'm just going to make the font bigger and bigger and bigger, and it'll just say Tom Osborne Field all over the whole thing.
Yeah.
But no, the reality is this: Tom Osborne's a brand, and he's representative of what this place is and what we aspire to be. And the more we can embrace and honor his legacy, we certainly will.
Very good. 402-413-2400. Let's go to the phones. John in Lincoln, you're up with Trev Alberts. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, guys.
Hi, John.
So I wanted to get your thoughts. One of the things that I have heard routinely from when Nebraska baseball moved into the Big Ten is that the Big Ten doesn't care about baseball. And I'm not entirely sure that that's fair or accurate. But from your perspective, Trev, is there anything that you think the Big Ten could do to promote baseball more, to make it more viable with other conferences like the SEC, the Pac-12, the Big 12, or do you feel like that falls more on individual institutions promoting their own programs? And Greg, if you have any insights into that, please feel free to add. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you, John. It's a great question. And, it's a conversation that does happen at the conference level. Obviously, the conference is interested in all the sports they sponsor. I think it's a large part on the individual institutions who choose to make that commitment. The University of Nebraska has made that commitment. I think Michigan's made that commitment. There are several Big Ten schools that have made the commitment in baseball, and so we need to do our part. I don't know that the Big Ten is necessarily in the business of promoting one sport over the other. Certainly when we have, success, I think the Big Ten does a good job of embracing that. I think the real challenge is that, with these northern climates, when our games keep getting moved all the time because of weather. I mean, it just happened recently here, and it's a challenge for fans. And so I know the northern baseball schools for years have tried to affect some legislation that perhaps could change what the calendar looks like, make it a little bit more reasonable. But of course, those of our friends in the South who don't deal with that and have a voting block, it's been difficult to get past. But I think the Big Ten does take baseball seriously, and I think you're seeing continued progress in that area. I think, Greg, you can add some.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. Since we joined the league, we've seen new facilities go up in a lot of different places around. I think the one thing, and John might have been alluding to this too, is that tomorrow will be the first time BTN will have a game on TV, where the SEC network had them opening day. But again, we're not in our home stadiums. You'd have to go do neutral site things, so I don't know that really changes. Let me just ask you this. Are you comfortable with the current facilities for baseball and softball out at Haymarket Park, or is that on your radar to look at upgrading facilities for baseball, softball?
Well, first of all, we love our partnership over there, and with the Salt Dogs, it's been great. It's a fabulous facility. The reality is after 20 years, no matter what, if you build a house 20 years later, there's going to be some things and some cosmetic things. And so, we want to do our best to continue to provide the type of facilities that will attract and retain elite talent to win the Big Ten baseball and softball championships. And so we've been working with our partners, certainly nothing to announce, but we want to do our part. We want to be supportive of the partnership and making sure that the facility looks as great as it did 20 years ago when it was built, and all the surrounding around it. I think there's some things that we can do and in the partnership, and we're certainly working towards that end.
Softball's off to a really good start.
Already won 19 games. I talked a little bit earlier about some of those veteran coaches that, look at Rhonda, her positivity, what she's seen, what she's been through. She's been a real source of energy for me as well. It's important. People often think, well, how supportive is the athletic director of the coaches? It works both ways. It's pretty cool to get a text from a coach saying, hey, I just want to thank you for your hard work. That happens from our coaches, and that's the kind of unity of purpose and trust that when we have, which I think we have, and we're working to even strengthen it, is a powerful thing within the department, and I really appreciate Coach Ravel.
She's legendary in her own circle. I mean, people around her. She has so much respect across the country as well. A text question for you. Will the red carpet experience continue in the future for all sports? I think it's a great idea and gives an amazing opportunity to gain young fans who could be hooked on Huskers for life.
Absolutely. Dr. Lawrence Chatters deserves all the credit. It was his idea, and he's implemented it. And, originally obviously started with our football program, and it was so well received that actually it was our coaches who came to the administration, coaches like John Cook and Amy and Fred and others saying, hey, baseball, softball, hey, can we be a part of the red carpet experience too? And so just really great. Obviously, each program is a little bit different in terms of availability and what demands is and what kind of supply you have in terms of seats. But we have donors that have reached out. They want to support the program. So it's something that's really important to us, and we're going to continue doing it as long as we possibly can.
Speaking of reaching out, you did release a few weeks ago the results of the survey that you sent out. First of all, were you pleased with the feedback that you got, the amount of feedback you got? Incredible.
The response rate, so we were working with our partners at CSL who helped, our consultant who helped us sort of put this together. And, it's so funny when people aren't used to dealing with Husker Nation and our fan base. And, we're hoping to get, and I'm thinking, we're sending it out to how many people? You don't understand. They're going to do the survey. And so I don't know what it ended up being, 23,000 people that fill out this survey, the entirety of it. And so really, really appreciate it, great detail in there. And so sort of where we are now is that broad base of survey that we went public with and transparently gave folks. What we're doing now is we meet every 2 to 3 weeks. We've got our community group, and we sort of have the plan behind the plan. And so we're contemplating all these different areas. And now what our partner's doing is taking that data that we released, and now we're really diving in and drilling into all of those areas like seat configuration and those price structures and all of that. So that is going to be an ongoing process. We have a concurrent, hospitality component. We're looking strong at the entire business model of where all the revenue comes from, how we can look at equality. It's just not something that's going to happen overnight. And then obviously that all feeds into the physical component of what the survey was. But we are going to do everything we can to be responsive to the requests of our fans. As I've said 100 times, we have nothing here without our fans. We just don't. That's the separator for us. So we're going to do what we can today, and then we're going to work on a strategy that we're going to hope that we can communicate, at some point, maybe in, I don't know when, and it might have to be phased. So that's kind of the strategy and the plan, but we want to do the best that we can immediately to support the feedback we got, and that is seat comfort. Real simple. We need seat comfort.
That was apparent, wasn't it?
Wi-Fi is pretty important, and then you can go down the list pretty quick. So we need to do the best we can to take care of our fans.
Anything surprise you in the results back, or did you expect kind of some of the feedback you got?
I expected much of it, Greg, but it was so overwhelming to me about the seat comfort. And maybe I should go a little bit further in terms of seat comfort. So here's part of your challenge as you're looking at, you gotta remember now, in 2023, Memorial Stadium turns 100 years old. All right, so you have codes and you have issues in 2022 that were a lot different, 100 years ago. And so part of the biggest challenge we have is the tread depth at Memorial Stadium, right? So, you have a fire marshal, and where I think the layperson says, which is what I would say too, is why don't we just go in there like we have way up high in the east and put in the railings in the back. People just want to be able to sit back and then make the seats wider. We're done. The problem is our tread depth down isn't enough. So we would never get approval from the fire marshal to be able to do that. So then my next question is, well, that's simple. We're just going to have to go in there, tear up all of that concrete and re-pour it to give the tread depth you need. You know what the problem with that is, Greg? It was built in 1923, and the engineers will tell you that it can only handle a certain weight based on, and so what the struggle and challenge will be is are there things that preclude us from being able to be responsive to the request of our fans? We're not there yet, what I'm saying is, but there are certain limitations of a 100-year-old stadium. There's so much history and tradition that we love about Memorial Stadium. There's also amenity level concerns that are a challenge based on the fact that it's 100 years old.
I know it's been a really interesting 6 months because you and your team have looked at a lot of different places around the country. It's probably been pretty educational for you to learn. Oh my goodness, they did that. That's pretty cool. I wonder how we could incorporate that here.
I love it, and it's fascinating stuff to me. So much of what we have and do is industry leader. It's awesome, but there's other things that, to your point, there's been a lot of new stadiums built. There's been stuff built in the, Baylor built a new stadium, Minnesota, but that's already 10 years old.
Right.
I mean, we put in Wi-Fi here in 2014, and we think, well, we got our Wi-Fi in. No, it's outdated, and you think about young people and their need and just basic fundamental things that, we get asked about. Well, we don't have a point of sale system in Memorial Stadium because we don't have Wi-Fi that can handle it. So, there's a lot of different things. When you talk about infrastructure, it's not just physical infrastructure, it's Wi-Fi infrastructure. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we have the right group of folks that are diving into it. I'm certainly not smart enough, but they are, and we'll create a communicable vision and plan at some point, but we're going to need some time because it's a lot.
Buckle up, put the phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Need to slip a break in. Numbers if you want to be a part of it with a call or a text, and I know I got a couple of texts that I get to Trev in the next segment, 402-413-2400. We're back with more coming up.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
In a world where fun and cash prizes collide, one game explodes to the forefront. Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery. Non-stop excitement, a winning thrill ride, and starring you. Until April 12th, play 2x2 weekly for a chance to win $5,000 or $500. And if your ticket was a 7-day draw, your prize is doubled. Don't miss it. Cash Blast playing at a lottery retailer near you. 2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
At Subaru, they love building vehicles for those who pack a lot into life. The redesigned 2021 Crosstrek is their way of saying more power to you. An upgrade in horsepower means you have a world of fun and adventure waiting for you. And the Crosstrek comes with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. Visit DeToe Subaru at 27th Street and Jamie Lane in Lincoln or at DeToeSubaru.com. Upgraded horsepower available on select models.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
The pitch. Base hit left field. Scoring is Sartori. Here comes Core Jackson around third. He's going to score. And the Huskers have walked off the Islanders on a wild Friday night at Haymarket Park.
This Saturday, the Huskers are back at the ballpark as they battle the Wolverines at 2:05 p.m. Pre-game coverage on the Huskers radio network begins at 1:30. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red!
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
The 2022 Mazda CX-5's inviting interior and eye-catching exterior combine passenger comfort and driving pleasure. Equipped with standard all-wheel drive, the award-winning 2022 Mazda CX-5 creates confidence on your journey. The interior surrounds you with sophistication tailored to you. It's a CUV crafted for together. Shop the 2022 Mazda CX-5 by visiting one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations or shop online at woodhouse.com.
When you're a sports fan, it's kind of like having a new love interest. You want to know all about them. Only instead of learning about someone's third-grade crush, you want to know the latest scores, stats, and lineups. To get that, you need Cox Internet. Cox gives you that window to look deeply into your beloved team's soul, not to mention their injury list. Cox, we're sports 24/7. Learn more at cox.com/sports.
Everyone knows that Dakota Mac is known for their great rates on long-term fixed ag real estate loans. But just how long-term are they? Well, even longer term than your first ride on the Gravitron at the county fair. And even longer term than the line to buy the corn dog you definitely shouldn't have eaten before you got on the Gravitron. Oof, so long-term.
It's Jim Persinger from Dakota Mac. Give me a call at 308-284-3260 to learn all about our competitive rates on 30-year fixed-rate loans.
Momentum. It's building at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. With game-changing work in precision agriculture, nanoscience, and digital humanities. We're unlocking mysteries in brain research, solving the impossible with remote surgery using robots. And we're creating bold futures with world-leading research in early childhood education. We don't slow down, and we're not letting up. We are Nebraska.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres. It's the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Trev Albert's with us until the top of the hour. If you want to be a part of it, 402-413-2400. Got a couple of texts for you. Ron says, Trev, have we thought about honoring some of our legacy Husker baseball players at Hawks Field that went to the College World Series, i.e. and Alex Gordon?
It's a great question, Ron. You know, in all honesty, we actually have a group on our athletic department that's working on how do we properly honor some of our greats. I mean, you think about, you just mentioned baseball. Think about across the board. We have track and field athletes. We have Jordan Burroughs. We have Jordan Larson. We have we have Heisman Trophy winners. And so the one challenge is, we probably can't have 35 statues. On the other hand, how do we do that? So we actually do have a group that's trying to actively look at that. I will also say that, when you're in facilities that are shared facilities, that becomes a little bit problematic too as well, because we don't own Haymarket Field. But there's got to be a way that we can do a great job of honoring those that have helped build the brand that is so good. Yeah.
You jogged my memory. We'd lost one of our all-time greats, Charlie Green, passed away. What a wonderful gentleman.
You know, I went to his funeral, and of course I'd read about Charlie and all of his accolades, but just to see some of his teammates, lifelong friendships, what he accomplished outside of his athletic feats, his service in the military, his leadership, his impact in our athletic department, serving as a mentor to our current student athletes. One of the all-time greats, an incredible person, and certainly going to be missed.
Love Nebraska.
He loved Nebraska.
Love Nebraska. John in Omaha says, you talked about keeping things basic and traditional with the look of the turf. When it comes to the relationship with our uniform gear, how many non-traditional looks in the football uniforms will we see this year? Not a fan of that at all. Thanks, John in Omaha. There you go.
It's a good question, John. And, it's one of the things that I've been working with our coaches on, and I don't want to get too far out in front here, but, we did a brand audit in our athletic department that's still engaged. And, I'm really passionate about that and protecting our brand as best we can, having a clean, clear, and consistent approach. Because the stronger your brand is and the better your marks are applied, there's direct revenue attached to it for us. I mean, people pay to use our marks, and so we have licensing fees. And so when there's fragmentation, obviously that limits your ability both on the revenue side. But we've worked hard. There have been people for 100 years that have worked really hard on that end and what it stands for. And so, I'm pretty passionate about it. We'll have a little bit more centralized approach in how we handle some of our marks, our uniforms. I think it's important for our student athletes and coaches to have, maybe an occasional, and Adidas likes it as well when we, do an alternate uniform. But I think we need to have consistent home and away uniforms that are clean, consistent, represent Nebraska. It's important, and we'll be working a little bit a more centralized approach with both Adidas and our equipment manager and others to make sure that there's consistency as best we can. Now, here's the challenge. People are going to say next academic year, well, wait a minute, we don't buy all new uniforms for every program every single year. So this will be a phased-in approach, but I'm hoping you'll see more consistency across the board relative to our brand.
You mentioned Adidas. They had a big announcement yesterday as it relates to NIL. What should the folks know about that?
Well, we've worked really hard, and I'm grateful that Adidas has done it as well. And, you're looking at in that NIL space opportunities for student athletes to monetize their name, image, and likeness. And so Adidas is providing additional opportunities, for our student athletes, and they're going to be able to opt in to, making money off their name, image, and likeness. And so if you're an Adidas school, which we are, I think it's outstanding. Adidas got out in front of this, and here we are as an Adidas school. And so, again, you have to take advantage of all of those type of opportunities for not only your current student athletes, but prospective student athletes who you might be recruiting.
Are you comfortable where Nebraska has how they've handled NIL in this first year? Casey Thompson, the new quarterback for the Huskers, talked about that was a big part of his decision to come here. Your thoughts about the way it's been handled here?
Well, proud of our team and proud of our coaches. We had a head coaches meeting, I think yesterday or the day before. I don't know. Everything's running together, but we're all in this together. And the thing we're trying to do, Greg, is we're trying to thread the needle between as long as I'm here, we will never, ever knowingly break an NCAA rule. We're going to do things the right way here. At the same time, how do we thread the needle with running a program with integrity and yet making sure that we're doing everything we can to allow our coaches every competitive advantage they have and can have relative to our peers? The challenge is, as we look at NIL, there are no guardrails, there are no rules. Institutions have chosen to look at them differently. States have passed laws. I do know the NCAA has opened inquiries already relative to NIL in some cases. So obviously our job is to protect the brand, but also help our coaches. And so I like our approach. We've announced multiple additional opportunities. We're getting in the NFT game. We've just signed a contract so our student athletes, in fact former student athletes, will be able to monetize around sort of that digital. I'm still learning a lot about this as well. We buy the playing cards and so it's the digital playing card that folks can benefit from. We have a brander deal that allows our student athletes. You will probably see jerseys with our student athletes' name and number, and they're going to benefit from that. So we're doing everything we possibly can. You've probably read a lot about collectives that have popped up across the country. There's a collective here that has served and has done a good job of serving our student athletes. Obviously, the university can't be involved in any inducements or procuring NIL deals, so that's a third-party deal. So, I'm comfortable with it. We've tried to be as aggressive as we can, but as careful as we can. Our compliance department, Jamie Vaughn's done a great job. Our faculty athletic rep. So, and our coaches have bought in. They're doing the best that they can as well. So it's an evolving space. We're doing more today than we did when I first got here. We'll probably be doing more 9 months from now than we are now. But we're walking. We're not running. We're not sprinting because we want to do it the right way.
Very good. 402-413-2400. That's the number if you want to be a part of the program with a call or a text. That is our Sports Nightly hotline, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, and buy online at woodhouse.com. More with Trev coming up.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Don't let the cold winter worry you. As Nebraska's leading supplier of propane, you can count on Sapp Brothers to keep your family warm this winter. You're like family, and your safety is the #1 priority of Sapp Brothers. When it comes to your propane needs, Sapp Brothers has you covered. Visit www.sappbros.net/petroleum to find your local Sapp Brothers propane expert. Celebrating 50 years of fueling America's heartland and welcoming guests, Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate.
Okay, let's get a photo of the bride and groom standing next to that giant mud puddle. Good. Now smile.
Oh, honey, don't look now, but you're covered in mud.
Oh, so is your white tux.
You know what this means, don't you?
Trucks and Bucks from the Nebraska Lottery is back.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the happiest day of my life. Don't you think we should head to the nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer?
I do.
Trucks and Bucks is back, and you could win one of 8 new trucks. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
The 2022 Mazda CX-9's refined performance and signature design make this 7-passenger CUV a cut above. Enjoy the inviting cabin where every passenger's comfort was a consideration. While experiencing Mazda's holistic approach to driving, the 2022 Mazda CX-9 is crafted for connection to the driver, passenger, and the journey. It's a CUV crafted for together. Shop the 2022 Mazda CX-9 by visiting one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations or shop online at woodhouse.com.
Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Final few minutes with Trev Alberts, our monthly sit down with him. A couple things. These will be things you can take back to Bob Burton. I know that'll make your day.
Okay.
Tracy in Omaha. Trev, can they open up another gate on the first base side at Haymarket so the people can get in faster? Thank you.
All right, Tracy, thank you for that feedback. I'll call Bob. There's no reason why Bob should go out there and open that himself.
Right now, yeah. Another one for Bob. This is Mark in Omaha. I've been unable to purchase milk at Husker events for the kids and me. How can that be? It's another Bob Burden question. I guess we don't have milk offered up at Haymarket, or I don't think we have it here at Memorial Stadium either. Brian in York said, Trev, there was an investigation from the NCAA into the football program last summer. Where does that stand?
Great question. Made a lot of progress there. And I can't talk much about it, but working on a negotiated resolution. And I think we're, getting close to the finish line. And again, proud of our team, proud of Coach Frost, proud of the collaboration with the NCAA. And I think it won't be forever, and we'll get that behind us, and we'll be able to move forward appropriately.
So Brian was in York, not Grand Island, but your volleyball team's going to play the Jayhawks April 23rd, a little scrimmage out there, and the folks out there, I think, are excited to see your team. They sold it out in 8 minutes.
6,000 tickets in 8 minutes. But, what I'm really excited about is the fact that our volleyball team is playing out there. And I think, one of the things we can do in this athletic department is we can do our part in trying to connect our state. I think what makes our state so unique is we have everything here. We have business and innovation and technology, and we have agriculture. And, I don't know how many states have what we have, that diversity. And I think we're really foolish to not embrace all of those things. And I think one of the areas that we could do a better job is embracing agriculture and our partners. And obviously Acres is an important partner, and Kevin Clark has become a bit of a friend. And we just need, today, First National Bank, one of our big partners, was here with an awful lot of farmers and ranchers who came in. They're big clients, and that they built Nebraska. That's what Nebraska is. It's hard work, it's grit, it's toughness, and we'd solve all of our world's problems today. If every young man and young woman had to go out and work on a farm growing up, we wouldn't have any problems. So we want this athletic department to be reflective of the values and ideals that our state embraces, and that's agriculture. And I'm really proud of that partnership. We're hoping that over the next month or two that we can get to some, communication about some strategic partnerships with our friends in the agricultural sector, because it's really, really important. It's important to them. It's important to us.
Grand Island, the home of the state fair here in the state
right.
of Nebraska. One last one. John on our text line says, Trev, any concern about the slow start for baseball? They were picked to win the league.
Well, I think the only thing that's different between baseball last year and this year is I'm here. So you can just blame me. But I don't have a lot of concern with Coach Bolt. Obviously from year to year, and I know we've already had some injuries with some of our pitching, but got an awful lot of confidence in Coach Bolt, and they'll continue to make progress. They had a magical season last year, but he's a tremendous leader, and certainly not the start that they had hoped, but 100% confidence that they'll be fine going forward.
Very good. Good to see you. Have a great week.
Great to see you. Yeah.
Trev Alberts with us, folks, right there. Our Sports Only Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. Scott Frost had a presser today. We'll hear some clips from him coming up next hour. Come on back.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
There's always a reason to celebrate, and we are at Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Blair during the Jeep Celebration event. From the legendary 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee to the redesigned new Jeep Compass, Jeep carries a lineup of capable SUVs built for modern adventures on and off-road. Don't miss out. Shop now during the Jeep Celebration event in-store in Blair or online at WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com.
In a world where fun and cash prizes collide, one game explodes to the forefront. Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery. Non-stop excitement, a winning thrill ride, and starring you. until April 12th. Play 2x2 weekly for a chance to win $5,000 or $500. And if your ticket was a 7-day draw, your prize is doubled. Don't miss it. Cash Blast playing at a lottery retailer near you. 2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska's new collaborative biosecurity lab is leading research to safeguard America's food supply against growing threats, in partnership with the U.S. Departments of Defense and Homeland Security. The lab brings together world-leading expertise in agriculture and a deep understanding of the complexities of strategic deterrence across the threat spectrum and in multiple domains.
Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go is mealtime made easy. Just order delicious meals online for convenient curbside pickup or have it delivered. Want breakfast? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Need lunch? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Doing dinner? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Get pancakes, burgers, fried chicken, lasagna, Hai-Chai Asian dishes, sushi, pizza, and more. If you're craving it, Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go has it with curbside pickup or delivery. Order today at Hy-Vee.com/mealtime.
Welcome inside the Acres Broadcast Center. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is your Sports Nightly Ticker. Happy Thursday, Huskers fans. You just heard from Trev Alberts in Hour 1 of tonight's show, and don't go anywhere. We have plenty more coming your way in Hour 2. Huskers head coach Scott Frost met with the media today to discuss spring football, and among many other topics, he addressed the status of wide receiver Xavier Betts.
Xavier's not a member of the team right now.
Why is that?
He's just not a member of the team right now.
You anticipate he'll return?
It doesn't matter right now. He's not a member of the team.
Is there a reason?
He's not a member of the team. That's all I'm going to say.
You'll hear more from the coach later in the hour. Also joining us in Hour 2 will be new Huskers men's basketball transfer from North Dakota State, guard Sam Griezel. Portal news does not stop there for the Huskers as the program announced that Eduardo Andre, Keon Edwards, and Trevor Lakes have all entered the portal seeking to transfer from Nebraska. Elsewhere in the world of college basketball, it's a busy night tonight as the men's Sweet 16 is in full force. Currently at half, Arkansas and Gonzaga are in a good one, and it's 32-29. Arkansas trying to pull off the upset over Gonzaga. Michigan and Villanova are also in action. They're approaching half, and it's 20-15 in a low-scoring affair. Villanova leads that one. Later tonight, it'll be Texas Tech and Producer Andrews, Duke Blue Devils with tip-off a little after 8:30 p.m. Central. And right before 9, Houston will take on Arizona. On the women's side, no NCAA tournament games until tomorrow, but currently underway in the WNIT tournament. Houston and Alabama are playing. It's 42-40 Alabama in that one. Boston College is playing Columbia, and BC has the lead, 33-18. Drexel's facing off against Seton Hall. It's 39-38 and a good one there. Seton Hall with the lead. Vanderbilt and Middle Tennessee are currently in action, and it's 23-16 Vanderbilt in that one. And then just underway in that same WNIT tournament, Toledo and Marquette, as well as Drake and South Dakota State. Those games just getting started as we speak. At 7:30, UCLA will take on Wyoming. At 9, New Mexico takes on Oregon State. And the women's NCAA tournament resumes tomorrow night as they embark into the Sweet 16. Another day and one more crazy NFL story. Today has nothing to do with free agency or blockbuster trades, but Empower Field, better known as Mile High Stadium, the home of the Denver Broncos, literally caught fire today. Thankfully, there were no injuries or no one was seriously hurt. Firefighters were on scene right away, but there's a visible damage circulating on social media, as well as some media outlets that have produced a lot of articles in the third level there in the stadium. So if you are a Denver Broncos season ticket holder, you might want to check your status of your seats as soon as possible. That's the ticker. My name is Tim Mulhaupt, and this is Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
The 0-1 pitch. Shot down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Chick's going to score. Rounding third. Rounding second is Sartori's going to be held at third. It's a pinch hit. Double RBI double from Cord Jackson. It's a one-run game, and now the Huskers have the tying run and winning run in scoring position.
As Squire blasts this one deep down the left field line, it stays fair. A home run for Abby Squire. Her second home run of the game. And Nebraska now leads 8-3 in the 6th.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 outs. Huskers down a run. The pitch. Base hit left field. Scoring is Sartori. Here comes Cord Jackson around third. He's going to score. And the Huskers have walked off the Islanders on a wild Friday night at Haymarket Park. Can you believe that?
First one on the way from Pocock. And Bredwell swings and blasts it. Deep center field and gone! A 2-run home run for Ava Bredwell. And that gives the Huskers the lead in the 8th.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Here we are back, hour number 2 of our Thursday night show. Hope you enjoyed hearing from Trev Alberts. Always fun to get his thoughts on a wide variety. We touched on a lot of different things tonight. Didn't have the earth-shattering news that we had last month with the Hoiberg announcement, but we covered a lot of things in that hour.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. Sometimes, it's not always about talking about news. Sometimes you can just get his opinions, his thoughts, maybe where things are headed, and just his overall perspective on things is always fun to hear too.
Well, we touched on NIL. How's it been going with that? And I thought he had some interesting things. I loved his recap of the wrestling tournament that PBA hosted. It sounds like that was a very successful deal for Nebraska and for Lincoln.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, with the alcohol sales and just learning about it, because it's never been at an athletics event there, just kind of getting a lot of information there and figuring out what maybe the next steps might be was big for him and the people making those decisions.
So if you have any thoughts about what you heard the athletic director say, we certainly can gather those in from you at 402-413-2400. Let's get to some of the news headlines of the day, and football made some of those. Tim had it for you in the ticker that Xavier Betts is not currently with the Husker football team. Could that change? I would never say never. I think that really caught a lot of people off guard today with that announcement that Xavier is not a part of the team. Everybody's got their theories. They're speculating why, whatnot. We don't know the whole story for that thing. It's sad because he's a really talented player, and you don't want really talented players to not be a part of the team. But again, we don't know all the factors that go into this.
Yeah, and you never know what's going on behind the scenes, and you can't expect Coach Frost to stand up there and to spill all the beans about it. I mean, you never know what someone is going through behind the scenes, and so you don't want to put the kid. I mean, you don't want to subject him to that. Yeah, I mean, you saw some flashes of him doing some incredible things last year, and we heard, when I was talking to Casey Thompson, that's a guy that stood out to him as someone to throw the ball to, but Mickey Joseph as well. But that being said, that is a room that they've really loaded with a lot of talent and a lot of playmakers. We're hearing about a lot of guys that have stepped up this spring, and so it's kind of a next man up. You wish the best for Xavier, and hopefully everything kind of works out. And like you said, don't know for sure if that is permanent or whatnot, but it's a next man up mentality, and I do believe they have a lot of talent that can fill that void.
Yeah, I'm not love to have him because he's already shown that he can do those things at this level. He's had some really dynamic plays. But I think Trey Palmer has been a nice surprise, the young man from LSU, the transfer in the program. They've got a couple really talented freshmen that aren't here yet. DeColdis, my favorite name on the team's not here yet. And the young man, Bonner from Atlanta, who was a late flip from an SEC school to the Huskers. He'll be here in late May and June as well. So I'm not concerned about that position. I think there'll be playmakers in that position moving forward. But you don't like to see a young guy who's already impacted the program not be a part of it. But again, we don't know all of the ins and outs of that.
And Oliver Martin's a guy that kind of is
absolutely. We forget him.
Yeah, he gets forgotten about because there are so many star names, but he's a guy that Casey Thompson mentioned by name, and he's a solid guy that has a lot of experience working with a lot of different quarterbacks. He's been able to build connections with each of those quarterbacks. He's just a reliable guy, a smart, knowledgeable guy about the game. And while he might not make the electric plays and he was battled by injuries a year ago, he's another guy that provides depth in that room and experience in that room.
Had a really good game at Illinois and then got hurt and then was kind of off the screen for a couple of weeks and then never really got it back. So there are names in there. That's not a position that really worries me as we go into that. The coach did meet with the media. We'll hear some clips from what he had to say above and beyond the Betts thing coming up here in just a little bit. Fred Hoiberg did put out an announcement today. We've already talked about some guys that have opted to go in the transfer portal. Trevor Lakes is doing that. But we did learn today Keon Edwards is a guy that was at DePaul, transferred back to Nebraska. Now he's in the portal. Keon he got some chances, didn't really do much when he got his opportunities during the season.
Yeah, he was a guy that stepped in to fill that starter's role for Trey McGowan's, but maybe struggled a little bit with his shot. And I just am, with this, how things have gone with the extra year and how rosters are just totally loaded up, and there's so many bodies that not everybody gets their opportunities. So just don't fault a kid that maybe wants to go find a place where he can play a little bit more, might be a better system fit for him. So he just probably thinks, maybe if I go somewhere else, I can find a place that is a better fit for me.
Eduardo Andre was the third one. I couldn't have drawn a blank on Eduardo's name. It happens. We talked about it with the women yesterday. They had a couple that have gone in the portal. It's just the way it is with these sports now. You're not going to have the same group back year after year. You're going to have attrition. But the good news is there are options out there for Fred Hoiberg to go find players through the portal. And we have an open recruiting period, signing period that starts here in a couple of weeks in mid-April that they can go get some young men who are still finishing up high school or come from the junior college ranks. So there's a lot of options out there for Coach Hoiberg to put it there. I thought it was interesting hearing Trav talk about what happened since he kind of told you a month ago that he was going to bring Fred back, the kind of what he has seen from that program over the last 30 days, and there's been encouraging things.
Finish, that word, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I think the way that they were able to put some things together, and hopefully they can remember that and carry that into the offseason and build off of that momentum that they had at the end of the season.
So Keon Edwards no longer part of the Husker basketball program moving forward, and so you start kind of doing the scholarship numbers. I think Nebraska still might even be over if everybody that signed in November comes, and so you still got to kind of work your way through all that. It's just so fluid. Same thing with football. Right now, football's probably over the 85 with the young men who will be joining in May and June when they get done with their high school season. So it's just always fluid. It's going to have to keep rolling with it and making your way through that. All right, coming up, we're going to hear from Scott Frost, his clips and talks with the media earlier today, and Sam Griezel, who is going to be a Husker basketball player. Caught up with him today. He was at North Dakota State, had a really good career for the Bison. They made an NCAA tournament appearance, made 2 of them while he was up at NDSU. He is now opting to come to Nebraska. His paperwork has been filed. He's now officially a Cornhusker. Going to talk to Sam coming up later in the hour as well. Again, if you want to be a part of it, 402-413-2400 is the number to dial us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. We're back with more of the show coming up.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with 8.7 inches of ground clearance, more than Toyota RAV4 or Honda Passport. It's the best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of July 2020. Visit Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue or at beardmoresubaru.com.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today we're tackling the issue of GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. GMOs may sound scary, but they're actually benefiting our environment and consumers. That's because GMO crops help solve specific problems like insects, food waste, and droughts. By selecting good traits from one plant or organism and adding them to another, farmers are safely using science to produce high-quality foods better than ever before. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska researchers are designing the next generation of roadside steel barriers through an industry partnership with Traffic's Devices. This partnership has produced the Delta Crash Cushion, a simplistic, effective way to keep drivers safe on highways. This barrier is vital for roadside safety and significantly improves the chances motorists will be able to walk away from roadside collisions.
First pitch to Griffin. He hits one hard to right center field. Long run for Brendan Ryan, the center fielder, racing back there, and it is gone. Home run. Griffin Everett hits it into the party porch in right center.
Tomorrow, Griffin Everett and Nebraska baseball open a 3-game home series against the Michigan Wolverines. First pitch at Haymarket Park is set for 7:30 p.m. with pregame coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Tune into your local affiliate or at huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with 8.7 inches of ground clearance, more than Toyota RAV4 or Honda Passport. It's the best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of July 2020. Visit Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue or at beardmoresubaru.com.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. Your last chance to save big on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But get moving. Offers are ending soon. Get to the final days of Ford Truck Month. Maverick has limited availability. See dealer for inventory stock.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
If your business communication slows down, your business slows down. Kidwell can help. Kidwell streamlines your company's communications with phone systems that work the way you work, in the office or on the road. Kidwell systems provide the unified communications features your users demand, like voicemail to email, instant messaging, and calendar integration. And Kidwell will be there providing training, service, and support to make sure you get the most out of your investment. Don't let communications problems slow down your business. Visit KidwellInc.com.
There's nothing better than the smoky aroma of grilled beef at the ballpark. This is Anne Marie with the Nebraska Beef Council reminding you to pick up a package of steaks or burgers for your next tailgate party. Whether you're setting up in the parking lot or cheering from home, nutritious beef is a home run choice when cheering on the Huskers. Visit beefitswhatsfordinner.com for delicious beef recipes, grilling tips, and tailgate inspirations. Beef, it's what's for dinner in Nebraska.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center. It's sponsored by Acres. It's the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. NCAA tournament back underway. Gonzaga is down by 3 at the half to Arkansas. That would be damaging to my bracket if that happens.
Mine too, but did you hear Tim in the ticker first said Gonzaga and then changed it to Gonzaga? You think we got in his head a little bit?
It is Gonzaga. I've confirmed that it is Gonzaga. So with a guy who worked at the school who says, by God, if we win a national title, maybe everybody will learn that it is Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, there we go.
So you and I were right the whole time.
I mean, we said it, and we kept hearing Gonzaga, and so, yeah.
Let's hear from the head coach. He met with the media today after their practice session. They are now past the halfway point of spring football, and he was asked specifically how practice went today.
It just takes a while to rep some things and get better at them, but mostly the guys just came to work today. It was a long, hard practice today, and I thought they fought through the whole thing.
They've had some physical practices. Pads have been on. They've been doing some tackle drills to the ground. When you do that, you're probably going to sustain some injuries. Here's what the coaches, his thoughts about if they've had some guys get hurt in the first half of spring ball.
There's a few guys. We'll comment on them when we know the extent and the length of the downtime. But it's spring ball, and there's been a couple things. For the most part, we're getting through healthy. There'll be a time to comment on that. It's tough right now. There's a bunch of guys that we're going to be counting on next year that aren't practicing, but they're doing a good job getting some individual reps and some mental reps. So it'll be good to get those guys back too.
That's more my concern. It's Teddy and Turner, those offensive linemen.
Yeah, for sure. And Jeremiah and I talked about that because Jeremiah was out at practice on Tuesday before Pro Day. And, but it provides an opportunity for some of these younger guys to get some reps that they might not otherwise have. But, you think about, yes, there are some guys that are injured, but a lot of, like Austin Allen, Travis Vokalek, they're going to be big pieces to this offense. They're already proven. They've done, they've gone through all this process before. So it doesn't necessarily worry you as much when you see some of those guys that are dinged up, nicked up, and you can kind of be patient with bringing them along because they're veteran guys.
Like on the defensive side, the guy that falls into that for me is Luke Reimer, who's not – he's going to be fine. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
We saw enough of Luke last year to know He'll be ready when we
Well,
get ready.
JoJo missed all of last spring, and look what he did last
Right.
fall. I mean, he didn't play at all in the spring, right?
Right.
And so he comes out and is arguably one of the best defensive players in the Big Ten. And so, you just don't worry about guys that have been around and proven what they can do and are going to take care of business, as Coach Frost just said, getting those mental reps.
Okay, Xavier Betts not a member of the football team right now. So what about that wide receiver group? The coach was asked to assess that position group through spring practice to this point.
They're doing well. You know, there's some new stuff for them to learn. We got some new faces and new bodies. You know, I'm really happy with the guys that are out there practicing right now. And again, we got a couple guys down. But that's a deep group, and Mickey's doing a really good job with them. So I'm not concerned about that position at all, and look forward to seeing them continue to improve.
Here's the other thing, and Mickey Joseph has not minced words, Jessica, that he wants ultimate effort. He wants guys that are all in, and if you're not going to play for Mickey Joseph. And I think he's getting a lot of buy-in, including Omar, who you talked to yesterday.
Yeah, and there's a reason why he's got guys doing what they're doing in the league. Jamar Chase, I've read a lot of articles of him talking about Mickey Joseph, about how he was prepared, and it wasn't necessarily a huge shock for him, shock to the system going to the NFL, because Mickey Joseph prepared him as a pro. And if you do what you're supposed to do with Mickey Joseph, he will develop you into that kind of guy. And so, not saying everybody's Jamar Chase, but he just was so appreciative of the way that Mickey Joseph prepared him for the next level, and so and how to handle and take care of his business. But Omar Manning's a guy that, he is all bought in and already sees and feels improvements in his game because of the things that Mickey Joseph has done with him here in the spring.
Coach Joseph's first meeting with his group, he said, guys, you're playing for your roster spots. Whatever you've done before, I don't care. You are playing now to impress me and keep your rosters. And that's why the other day, Mickey raised a lot of eyebrows when he really praised Brody Belt. But Brody brings it every day. Is Brody Belt the most talented guy on this football team? No, he is not. And Mickey wouldn't try to convince you otherwise. But he brings it every day, and he's going to be out there battling his tail off to do whatever's right to help the team win. And those are the kind of guys that are going to play for Mickey.
And then look after that press conference, everybody was talking about Brody Belt. You don't think some of those wide receivers saw some of that, maybe be fueled by that a little bit too, that, hey, this is a guy that has earned coach's respect because of how he brings it every day. All right, I got to match that. And a lot of times that kind of energy and effort, people want to match that.
Offensive line. Here's the head coach talking about what he has seen from that group so far here in the spring.
You know, I've said it a bunch, but there's just, been noticeable improvement to me on some of the techniques and details and fundamentals. And they've been plugging guys into different spots. Every time I look up, there's a left tackle playing right guard and a right guard playing left tackle. And guys need to be able to play multiple things so that when we fit it all together and get the best 5 guys out there, they're ready to do it. And I think they're getting a lot of experience with that right now.
Again, reps going to guys that aren't maybe going to play a ton because of Teddy and Turner not there, but this is invaluable for them to get that.
Yeah, Coach Rayola is another guy that you can just tell by talking to his players how much they love him. Like I spoke with Nuri today at length, and he just started smiling, talking about him and what he's kind of brought and how what the mentality is for this group. But yeah, I think it's good for these younger guys to get this experience, get these reps, because you never know when you might need them, but also to help build for the future too.
Coach was asked about putting in some new wrinkles to the offense, and this is an interesting quote from Scott Frost about some of the tweaks that they're making with Coach Whipple to the offense.
I think so. There's hiccups, some things we're running that I don't know that are really good that Whip has, and I scripted a period, and those guys, some of the new guys weren't familiar with that today, and there's just going to be some of a process of that and mixing the two things together. I really like some of the things that Coach Whipple and several of the other guys have brought to the table, and if we do a good job taking the best of a lot of stuff, I think it'll make us better.
You'll remember when I talked to Casey Thompson, he made note of that, what Whipple's done coupled with Coach Frost. And so that blending of the two and bringing the wrinkles in from both, I think this team really likes that and has enjoyed learning that. And while it's a process, they're excited about the potential of those two coming together.
One thing, and Nuri spoke to the media, so did Brian Applewhite, the running backs coach. Sounds like they're taking more snaps under center for the quarterbacks. And Applewhite said, I like my guys when the quarterback's under center because their vision is better. And Nuri said, we're running the ball like crazy right now. And so that ought to make Husker fans pretty happy. If they're running the ball pretty well, I think everybody ought to like that.
And another room that is loaded and has a lot of depth and a lot of guys that are and they're fighting for their spot too. And even when Gabe Ervin gets back, he's going to be added to that mix. But they want to earn their time and compete for their playing time. So they're fighting like crazy right now. So I think that's a product. That's what competition does. It breeds that success. So that's probably why too, when you're hearing them running the ball a lot, it's working because those guys just are so hungry.
Nuri was really complimentary of two guys, the big fella, Jock Yant, who looks great. He's lost a little bit of baby fat off of that. He looks like a guy you don't want to mess with on the field. And the JUCO transfer, Grant.
Yeah, he said that to me too. He went on and on about those two guys. And, I think too, even as a freshman and even in just 3.5 games, Gabe Ervin really gained a lot of respect in that locker room. And guys really, especially the offensive linemen, really liked working with him too. So I think there's a lot of guys that, and that's another thing too. I've always heard offensive linemen about blocking for those running backs. That's a relationship you got to build too. And so I think those relationships are being built this spring too.
All right, we'll leave you with this from the coach. He was asked about, has anything stood out to him through the first half of spring ball?
I'm happy with the leadership right now. And when it's a team-run team, it's more powerful than if the coaches are setting the rules and holding everybody accountable. And we had pretty good leadership on defense last year. We had some leaders on offense, but they weren't real vocal, and that's kind of changed. So I'm pleased with the standard that's being set and the accountability.
I'd like to know who it is. It's got to be Casey Thompson. When he's talking about leaders, right? It's got to be Casey.
I would imagine Trey Palmer's probably in that group too. Wouldn't surprise me. Some of these older guys that have transferred in. But I also keep hearing, it seems like every single interview that I do with players after practice, in one way or another, whether it's the offense guy or the defense guy, they bring up the battles that they're having with each other. So I think it's been a really competitive spring against each other, and maybe even times get a little chippy, but you want that in the spring. Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Yep, I'm okay with that. You've heard a couple players just say that Casey's just more vocal than Adrian. Not a knock on Adrian, just saying he is more vocal with stuff than and I get that. Adrian was a little shy. Shy is not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for, Adrian? He wasn't shy.
Maybe reserved.
That's a better word.
Yeah, he just wasn't not a big rah guy.
No.
And what's funny is I worked at Oklahoma when Baker Mayfield went through and won the Heisman, and then that next year Kyler came in, and Baker was a big time rah guy, and he wore his emotions on his sleeve, and he was the loud guy in the locker room. Kyler was more of a guy that he was not a rah guy, and it's okay. I mean, they both led in different ways, but and the team bought into both of those, and I think we did see that the guys wanted to play for Adrian, and they bought into that. But it's just a different leadership style, and that's okay. But Casey is definitely more of a rah guy than Adrian.
And it's not a knock on Adrian, and you can't be something you're not. And I think Adrian was a good leader. I think guys really respected Adrian.
Yeah,
it's just a different way to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This team wanted to play for Adrian, and they loved him dearly, and they were bought into him. It's just a different kind of leadership, which is good probably too. When you have a change in that quarterback, that it's not the same kind of guy.
It's just different. I think the offense needed some different voices. New quarterback, Whipple's a different voice, Mickey's a different voice, Rayola's a different voice. I think all that can be really good for a football team. We'll certainly find out once they start playing games in late August. Couple of texts for us. Roger says, just curious, how do super seniors count into determining the scholarship of 85? They count. So if you got them, they count against your 85. It's not like you can go 85 and then you got 4 guys that are a super senior. You can't go above and beyond.
It was only that 1 year, right? That 1 year that it didn't count.
Now it does.
Now it's back to counting. So yeah, I think once we go through spring ball, across college football, once you kind of maybe get a sense, some of these guys where they stack up with playing time and the depth chart, I think we're going to see the transfer portal get flooded again.
This is a bone for me. I just think some sports did not need to be given that extra year. College basketball, for the most part, they've played all their seasons. Coaches will tell you, man, it's really gummed us up. And to me, it's taken away opportunities for kids coming out of high school right now. It
absolutely has. And it just makes things difficult for trying to figure out, because not all these programs have full scholarships either. So then, how do you work that? It's made it pretty challenging, and you can't tell a guy that's been a part of your program, hey, no, we don't have a spot for you. But, at some point you want to start getting different recruits in. But yeah, it's definitely made things complicated for sure.
Hey, buckle up, put the phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. All right, need to take a break. When we come back, Sam Griezel is going to join us. Sam is the newest member of the Husker basketball team. He's taking advantage of that extra year to come from North Dakota State, where he's had a stellar career for the Bison, to now be a part of Fred Hoiberg's program, and he's coming home. He was a Lincoln East graduate here, and so we're going to hear from Sam coming up next.
So, this date was really fun.
Yeah, thanks for dinner.
For sure. For sure. Not really sure why I'm playing with my keys. I literally took an Uber here.
Oh, me too.
Wow.
Can I
Wanna
ride
grab
you
a beer?
around?
Start the night out right. Because you can't drive drunk if you don't drive there. Decide to ride. This message is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and Uber. Copyright 2022, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics. You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, digital and social media, radio advertising, and more. Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
Start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford and experience the difference. Discover a new era in the 2022 Ford Edge. The seamless integration of power, performance, and technology allows you to feel confident on the road. Place a custom order today and design an Edge that meets the demands of your lifestyle. Plus, shop online anytime at woodhouseford.com or visit us in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today's topic, animal agriculture. There's been a lot of talk suggesting that giving up meat is good for the environment. However, livestock emissions only account for less than 4% of greenhouse gas emissions, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Also, by reducing meat in your diet, you're missing out on all sorts of beneficial nutrients like protein, iron, and zinc. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
SOS to the rescue! SOS to the rescue!
As the Huskers head to the seventh inning stretch, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so hot. The air conditioning is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. Call or visit soshvac.com today.
SOS to the rescue! SOS! SOS!
Okay, let's get a photo of the bride and groom standing next to that giant mud puddle. Good. Now smile.
Oh, honey, don't look now, but you're covered in mud.
Oh, so is your white tux.
You know what this means, don't you?
Trucks and Bucks from the Nebraska Lottery is back.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the happiest day of my life. Don't you think we should head to the nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer?
I do.
Trucks and Bucks is back, and you could win one of 8 new trucks. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Matthews. Bryce swings and hammers it to right center field. That's deep, and it is gone onto the berm in right center field. Matthews with a 2-run shot. It's a hit parade here in the 6th inning.
Sunday, Nebraska closes out their home series with an 11 a.m. showdown against the Michigan Wolverines. Huskers Radio Network pregame coverage begins at 10:30 a.m. Tune into your local affiliate or at huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with 8.7 inches of ground clearance, more than Toyota RAV4 or Honda Passport. It's the best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of July 2020. Visit Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue or at beardmoresubaru.com.
Hello, I'm Tom Osborne.
And I'm Coach Frost.
Statistics prove that youth who are mentored and receive support and guidance from a caring adult show measurable improvement in academic achievement, motivation to succeed, and hope.
Over the past 30 years, Teammates has served more than 43,000 youth, and right now there are more than 1,000 waiting for a Teammates mentor to visit with them once a week in school.
For more information on how you can help the Teammates Mentoring Program, please go to teammates.org, and thank you for supporting our youth.
Sponsored by Nebraska Crossing Fast Cash app.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center. It's sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. A real treat for us tonight to talk to the newest member of Fred Hoiberg's basketball team, and he's a Lincoln product, Sam Griezel, who played his prep ball at Lincoln East and has had a fabulous career up in Fargo at North Dakota State, joining us now. Sam, great to have you as part of the Husker family. What's the last 2 weeks been like for you? Take me through this whole thing.
It's been pretty crazy, I think is a good way to describe it. I've said a few times now, 3 weeks ago I didn't see myself in this position. But I'm just taking it day by day, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm just really excited for this opportunity.
Were you a Husker fan growing up?
Oh yeah, I was a big Husker fan. Growing up, I went to all the basketball camps, and I just remember thinking that those dudes were just the coolest people on the planet. So the fact that I get to be one of them is a pretty cool and surreal feeling. But yeah, I grew up going to football games and basketball games and volleyball games, so yeah, first 18 years of my life, I was for sure a Husker fan.
Who were some of your idols? Who were guys that you just kind of you remember? Maybe you were an 8, 9-year-old kid that you just thought that was. Give me a name or two.
I'll go. So I remember going to one of the camps, and Tony McRae.
Oh yeah,
was there, and he just acted like me and him were just the best of friends, and so I took that and ran with it. So he was one of my idols for sure. And then, Lance Jeter, Ryan Anderson, Cookie Miller, all those guys. Yeah, I remember all of them. So.
Oh, great stuff. All right. You make the decision that you're going to use that extra year from COVID and go somewhere. Did you have some schools in mind? What was kind of in your mindset when you made that decision a few weeks back?
Yeah, I was kind of debating on when I entered the transfer portal, professional basketball was still an opportunity for me and an opportunity that I wanted to explore and really think about. So it was kind of like that avenue, and then obviously the college basketball realm or whatever. And obviously once I heard from Coach Hoiberg, I love the idea of Nebraska just as far as me growing up here and being very familiar with the area, and knowing the support that they get and the fan base that Nebraska has. It was just a matter of, building that relationship with Coach Hoiberg and then some of the teammates that I know will be there. And then, once we got that figured out, I was good to go.
What was it like when you sat down and talked with him face to face? What was that like for you?
It was like I said, it was kind of an experience that I never thought I would really experience. So from that aspect, it was really cool. But I think in the next year, I'm going to be able to learn a lot about just basketball in general. I could tell that he's a obviously he's been there and done that a lot of in the NBA and in college basketball, and so I'm just really eager to learn from him and just gain a lot of knowledge from him.
Again, visiting with Sam Griezel, who's the newest member of the Husker basketball team. Will be using the transfer portal to come in from North Dakota State, where he had a terrific career up there for the Bison, even made an appearance in the NCAA tournament a few years ago, played at PBA against the Huskers a couple years ago as well. Sam, for people that maybe haven't seen you play, describe your game, and where do you feel comfortable playing? I know you played a lot of point this past year for the Bison. Just kind of lay out your game for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years has been the most fun I've had playing basketball. And I think a lot of that has to do with me playing the point position and just having the ball in my hands a lot. Something that I'm really comfortable with now, and something that I'm obviously very open and looking forward to do at Nebraska in Coach Hoiberg's offense and how they run things. So hopefully, that's where I'll be. But, I mean, as far as what I guess fans can expect from me is just really going out there each and every night and just playing my heart out. I'm going to do whatever I can for our team to win and to compete at a high level. And like I've said, a few times now, I really just want to be a part of a product that fans can be proud of out there and, just puts a smile on their face and can see the joy that we play with. And I'm really looking forward to that aspect of it too.
Did the coach talk to you about what kind of role he wants you to play, or did you get that specific with him yet?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about kind of playing point guard and being a leader out there. So, I mean, we're not obviously super in-depth into it yet, but, that's kind of what I'm expecting and what I'm really looking forward to.
All right, well, give me what's the next 60 days like for you? I know you're trying to finish up school up at North Dakota State, then back home. What's it going to be like? What's the next 60 days look like for you?
Yeah, it'll be, quite a few back and forth trips. I mean, I've made it several times now from Fargo to Lincoln, so the 6.5-hour drive isn't too bad. But yeah, I mean, my main focus is to finish my school here and make sure I get my degree. And then come back to Lincoln and get to work.
How excited are you to kind of tour the Big Ten in 1 year, your final year of college basketball, to be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be awesome. Obviously, a lot of historic programs and venues to experience, and I'm really looking forward to that because I've been able to go to a lot of places as far as, basketball has taken me a lot of places, including several different countries. So I'm really, really excited to kind of be a part of the historic arenas in the Big Ten and some really crazy environments. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Sam, there's a lot of Husker fans really excited about you and this decision you've made, and they can't wait to cheer you on at PBA next season. Finish strong, get that degree, and we'll look forward to catching up with you once you get into Lincoln for good in June.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
There he is, the newest Husker, Sam Griezel, coming from North Dakota State to be a part of Fred Hoiberg's basketball program. Can't wait to see him in a Husker red wearing the uniform. He joined us on our Sports Nightly Hotline, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. All right, phone lines back open for you. Your thoughts about Sam Griezel, 402-413-2400. Jessica will rejoin me as we wrap up Sports Nightly here on a Thursday night next.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help us with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. J.D. Power ranked Shelter Insurance #1 in customer satisfaction among auto insurers in the Central Region and #1 in price.
See agents Natalie Vampola or Michael Reeves in Omaha, or in Plattsmouth, see agent Julie Null.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. Your last chance to save big on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But get moving, offers are ending soon. Get to the final days of Ford Truck Month. Maverick has limited availability. See dealer for inventory stock.
In a world where fun and cash prizes collide, one game explodes to the forefront. Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery. Non-stop excitement, a winning thrill ride, and starring you. Until April 12th, play 2x2 weekly for a chance to win $5,000 or $500. And if your ticket was a 7-day draw, your prize is doubled. Don't miss it. Cash Blast playing at a lottery retailer near you. 2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Back our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse, first 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. What a nice young guy. He's going to be a quick fan favorite. Grew up in Lincoln, big-time Husker fan growing up. What a nice addition for Fred Hoiberg.
Absolutely. And when you talk about getting transfer portals and guys out of the transfer portal, a lot of times it's kind of hard to get guys to mesh and to fit in, and a lot of times it takes a lot of time. But for someone that already understands Nebraska and understands kind of the culture here, the atmosphere, understands the fans and what's going on and has been embedded in it, that only helps the process because, a lot of guys maybe come and have no clue how to get acclimated, but he won't have any issues with that.
I think Coach Hoiberg's going to love coaching Sam, so glad to have him part of it. And again, there's more news coming from men's and women's basketball. I think in the coming weeks we'll continue to follow it. It's just what college sports is, folks. It's changing. The transfer portal, everybody trying to find a different spot. It's kind of the fun thing to do for all these kids. A lot of them don't think it through because a lot of times they go somewhere, they go in the portal, and then there's nowhere for them to land or nowhere close to what they thought they could maybe land. Bussin' with the Boys. This is Will Compton's podcast with Taylor Lewan, who's a former Michigan Wolverine, now playing with the Tennessee Titans in the NFL. These guys have kind of cut out a niche. You got a chance to meet him. I think you got a chance to go on the bus, right? Back in the fall?
Yes. Jeremiah and I, and it was hot. There was no air conditioning. And Coach Frost and Trev Alberts went and did an interview, and Trev was in a full suit, and it was so miserable in that bus. But yeah, then Jeremiah and I did a Facebook Live segment with Will out in all of the fans right by the bus, and I mean, you can talk about energy. I mean, that dude he brings it.
I think he's always on Red Bull. Well, they were here in Lincoln a couple weeks ago, and then they went to Ann Arbor to visit Taylor Lewan's alma mater and Jim Harbaugh. And playing at Nebraska last fall got brought up to Coach Harbaugh, and he actually was pretty nice about this. Let's let you listen in. This was a recent podcast with Bussin' with the Boys, Jim Harbaugh talking to Taylor Lewan and Will Compton.
How fun was it putting this together?
That was insane.
Yeah.
What an atmosphere. That game day experience in Memorial was off the chain, as the young people say.
Yeah.
the music, the thing they do between the third and the fourth quarter.
Oh my! When the lights go off and the red lights, yes, bro.
What's the song they play? It's a Metallica song or heavy metal song.
Oh, that's tough.
It is tough, but I know.
You should know that.
I know I should know that. I was in the moment, Garrett. What was it, Garrett? Do you know the song? Do you remember?
He choked on that. He just choked.
Was it? Yeah. Thunderstruck. AC/DC. That's my fault.
That's like the number one football song.
When he looked at me and started saying, "What was the song?" My heart started. This one wasn't playing in.
Shame on Will. But he didn't know that right away.
I know, he should have known, but that is what people feel and see. That's why players like to even play on the road and come here, because you just don't get that kind of atmosphere everywhere you go.
Jim Harbaugh knew that was a big win for his team, and I think he felt pretty relieved to get out of here with a victory. We all thought it was right there, and if a call or two goes a different way, that might have been a special night for Nebraska. But that was a great atmosphere that evening.
I remember I was on the sidelines when it happened, and the Michigan players were all just like jumping up and down, and they got hyped up by it too. And I mean, it was just they very much appreciated the kind of atmosphere that they got to play in front of here.
We try to tell everybody that how cool it is, and I think Husker fans do appreciate it, but we get to see other places, and we know that it's not even close to what it is here. And they got Jim Harbaugh out there saying that. That's pretty good. You know that's going to be used by Husker football for a while.
Does that make you dislike him less?
Oh, I don't totally dislike him. I just think he's really odd.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's not the football coach here.
Well, he's just such a polarizing guy, and it's why, people want to hear what he says, whether they like him or they don't like him. But that Bussin' with the Boys podcast, you had mentioned that they had came here and they had Casey Thompson, Garrett Nelson on, and then they had Coach Chenander and Coach Frost. And I mean, over 52,000 views on YouTube already on the Nebraska episode, and just with Coach Frost and Coach Chenander. I mean, that's a huge recruiting tool too. And Will Compton is as crazy as he is, and I know sometimes we had to make sure that didn't have a cuss word in it to be able to air it on this show. But boy, I don't know if there's many people more passionate about Nebraska and believing in this place more than Will Compton.
He loves it. And he's a great ambassador in a lot of ways for Husker football out and about. All right, let's update the NCAA scoreboard. Villanova up 8 on Michigan, about 9 minutes to go in that game. Wolverines have played above their seed, getting to the Sweet 16, but they're down 8 with about 9, again, right at 9 minutes left in the game. But number 1, Gonzaga, losing by 8 with 7 minutes to go. That's going to hurt my bracket, Jessica, unless that thing turns around.
Mine too. And then what if Duke goes to the finals? We will never hear the end of it.
Duke is later tonight. They'll play Texas Tech. That should be in about 45 minutes or an hour before that game gets underway, and then the late game.
You jinxed yourself because you were bragging. All 4 of my Final Four teams are still in play.
I know. Well, Gonzaga still has time to come back for this game. Andrew needed the day off because he's got his Duke socks and jammies on right now, and he's just getting ready to root on his Blue Devils here in a little bit.
Oh.
Can you picture him in his socks?
He also will probably not come to work tomorrow if they lose tonight.
He said he won't. He did. He said, I'm not coming if we get beat. So keep Andrew in your thoughts as you watch Duke play Texas Tech. I like Tech. I picked Tech in my bracket. I don't know if I'm going to be right, but I do like Tech to win that game tonight. And tomorrow starts conference play in baseball. Softball will have an hour show tomorrow night. Husker baseball, a 7:30 start. Your ticket may say 6:30. It's actually going to be 7:30 tomorrow night. And Husker softball is also playing Michigan, but they're in Ann Arbor for the games this weekend. So here we go. Conference play is here.
Huge opportunity for the softball team. They are leading the Big Ten in all kinds of offensive statistics, and this would be huge for the resume builder and the RPI and all of that if they could win a few up there in Ann Arbor.
Absolutely. You've got an hour show tomorrow night. You got about 15 seconds. What's coming your way?
Oh, huge. Nuri is going to be back again for his weekly visit. And then we got Pat Logston and Mark Manning will be here.
Very cool. Mark Manning had a great finish to the season. Huskers finished 5th in that national tournament. Thanks to Jessica, to Tim, and all of you for listening tonight. Enjoy the games tonight. Go Red Raiders. Have a great night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
United Healthcare believes small businesses are vital to our economy and an important part of our communities. Join United Healthcare in celebrating small businesses. I'm Rob Broomfield, United Healthcare of Nebraska's CEO and a graduate of the University of Nebraska. We want to recognize your small business with the Spotlight on Small Business Sweepstakes. Winners receive radio interviews, social media recognition, and more. To enter, visit huskers.com/spotlight. United Healthcare, proud partner of Husker Sports.
The best parts of an SUV and pickup truck come together in the all-new 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz. This up-for-anything sport adventure vehicle gives you modern convenience and uncommon freedom with the open bed of a pickup truck. Plus, when you shop Hyundai, you'll benefit from Hyundai Owner Assurance with America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Find yours online at woodhousehyundai.com or in-store off 144th and Giles Road during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
When you're a sports fan, it's kind of like having a new love interest. You want to know all about them. Only instead of learning about someone's third-grade crush, you want to know the latest scores, stats, and lineups. To get that, you need Cox Internet. Cox gives you that window to look deeply into your beloved team's soul. Not to mention their injury list. Cox, we're sports 24/7.